Aloha and welcome to Maui at the Crossroads. I'm Herb Squires, producer and host of the show. Tonight we've got a great show for you, something a little different than we've normally been doing here. Tonight we've got the Prime Minister of the reinstated Hawaiian government, Henry Noa, and he's going to be doing his own presentation on the reinstated Hawaiian government. I'm just here to open the show and close, so we're all going to be fascinated and enjoy what you've got to tell us, Henry, because I know you've got a wealth of information about the government and what your plans are.
Say, Herb, you know what? I'd like to thank you, to taking the time to making this happen. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to make something like this happen for us, especially for us, the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom. And I'm very appreciative about it.
I'm just grateful for you to be working with all of us to make it happen, because I know how many years you've put into this effort so far, and it's a huge amount of effort.
Right on, brother.
And I support you 100%. I'm ready to sign up to be a citizen of the Hawaiian nation whenever we can. So I support the effort as much as I can.
Again, mahalo, brother, for
pleasure.
giving me this opportunity. Well, part of the presentation is to try to help our people. Make better determinations, make better judgments. And really, that's what I'm going to try to do tonight.
I'm sure you're going to do
think
a
about some
terrific
questions
job.
as you, sitting down. Think about some questions so that you come back up here, ask me some questions, and then we can address some of the issues that you think are out there.
Okay, well, I'll be busy shooting, so if I don't come back with any questions, it's because I got to do a lot of jobs around here.
Mahalo, brother.
Thank you for your time. Really appreciate you flying in from Oahu,
my pleasure,
being
brother.
here, and like I said, working as hard as you have all these years to make this happen, because this is something that's important for all of us, and
Fantastic.
I just really appreciate all your hard work.
Mahalo, brother. Again, thank you.
Take care.
Aloha.
And I'm out of here.
I'd like to say again, to all of you, it takes a lot of work to do something like this, especially putting on a production, and I'm very grateful with Herb and his crew and what they're doing for us here. Well, one of the things that I do want to look at today, and I want to show you guys, is that this presentation, what is the intent of it? The road to sovereignty. The reinstated Hawaiian government, had been constructed on international laws that was established long before we were recognized as a nation. But it's the value of understanding these international laws, I believe, will help the Kanaka people, or even those out there who wish to support our sovereignty movement, to make better determinations. And when you look at this presentation, it's called The Road to Sovereignty. Like anything else, a pathway is set, so you move from one point to another. Well, I have here 5 categories, The first category is undecided. That's the beginning of the journey, all right? We have our people out there who are definitely undecided. These are individuals, Hawaiian people, even non-Hawaiian people. They really don't know how to make a decision as far as selecting what sovereignty is. So that's our first category. Our second category is advocate. What is an advocate? It should be the question. Well, an advocate is someone who's out there talking about sovereignty. They want to see something happen. So anytime you hear an individual that speaks about how sovereignty should be constructed, what are some of the issues involving sovereignty, or you hear of groups proposing the issue of sovereignty, all right? This is the category that they're in. They're an advocate to sovereignty. The third category is what we call conceptual. Conceptual, the difference between a conceptual and an advocate is simple. A conceptual, is one who actually developed a plan. They have a plan in place. They're taking the time to develop this plan. They're presenting it to the people. This is the difference between a conceptual and an advocate. So when you look at this plan, at least you have information to make a determination off of. All right? So this is the category of conceptual. All right? The fourth category is qualified. As I mentioned earlier, sovereignty is connected to law, international laws that many of our Hawaiian people are unaware of. All right? So in this presentation, what the reinstated Hawaiian government will do is that we'll connect you to how international law is a part of developing a sovereignty process. And there are requirements in these laws that qualify a nation to actually exercise sovereignty. Okay? So in this category, what we will do is we'll share with you some of the important requirements according to international law so that this government can be qualified to be acknowledged and recognized not only here in Hawaii, but throughout the world and even among the United States government. The fifth category is exercising rights. To get to this aspect, to this point, you have to have completed category 4, qualified. You have to have completed this. And I believe this is the difference that a nation or sovereignty determines its existence and how the people now can better understand what each proposal that is out there, that is being done in front of our people. Because I can tell you, every year there's been a different proposal. Just this year alone, we've been introduced to 3 other proposals that have been brought to the table within this past year and these last few months. And what it does, it only adds to the confusion. So when I go out and I talk about sovereignty, sometimes what happens is people are frustrated. And you know what? The first thing they tell me, say, Henry, how can we make the determination between this sovereignty from that sovereignty process? Or this proposal versus another proposal? But again, you know, this is the intent that I'm going to try to get achieved, in the Road to Sovereignty presentation. My name is Henry Noa. I'm the Prime Minister, elected Prime Minister of the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom. In fact, we just conducted a ratification vote on our constitutional laws, and these adjustments were made, and I can share with you that one adjustment was made where in our Constitution, our first draft of Constitution, the qualifying age to be an officer in our government was 25 years old. You had to be 25 and above. And we realized that we had cut off an age group that is vital to any nation, and that is our young adults. So we conducted a plebiscite throughout the entire state of Hawaii, and today we are I'm happy that those that participated in this plebiscite realized the value of including our 18-year-olds up to 25-year-olds. So today, like I said, I'm excited that we can include this entire bracket of adults, young adults, into our process. Okay? Now, let me go back to the first category. Undecided. You know what undecided means? Is that every individual that is out there, they're the ones that should have the responsibility to making the decision about sovereignty. And I say individuals because it's difficult to accept an organization or a group to come forth and to openly suggest to the public that we support this sovereignty process. And the reason why I make that statement is because in these groups or organizations, you have individuals, particularly Hawaiian people, who do not support what these groups have made their statement on. Okay? So, in this body here, we have our Hawaiian people, that are, I predict there's like 99.9.8% of our entire population are still undecided to the type of sovereignty that we should have in Hawaii. That's a huge percentage, okay? And it's their responsibility. It is the individual's responsibility to know how to make this decision. So if we have that many people out there, I can understand why there's the confusion. But more so, I truly believe that these individuals, all they need is a little help, okay, to try to make these determinations or make a distinguishment between one process versus another. So we have this huge category. Now, in the advocate group, again, these are people that are out there, yeah, proposing sovereignty to the general public. Okay? They can be individuals or they can be groups. Okay? Groups that I've heard of proposing sovereignty, yeah, they include Civic Club, Hawaiian Civic Club, the Royal Order of Kamehameha. At certain times, they've proposed sovereignty. Again, let me tell you that sovereignty is an individual issue. All right? And this is what we need to understand. So if we have all of these advocates out there, now who would be a part of this advocate? Yeah, this advocacy. I think the number one advocate I run into is the ohana, the family. You get the family members getting together, they're discussing the issue of sovereignty, and over a period of time, yeah, I've seen this actually do more harm than good because there's been separations within the family. And I personally, I don't think that's necessary. Okay? Because the families are advocating sovereignty, I believe that it's understanding the differences in the proposals. Okay? So, in the same advocacy group, yeah, you have what they call non-profit organizations. Okay? Non-profit organizations is advocating sovereignty. Again, what's the difference? It's obvious to me that to have a group suggests that this is the form of sovereignty we should have. It circumvents, yeah, the individual. It takes away from them. And another thing, as I mentioned earlier, in these groups, you have Kanakas, you have Hawaiians, yeah, who do not agree with their decisions. Again, in fact, today, what we have going on in the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, right, is that they've set up what they call a council. Okay? If you were to check who actually is representing or is represented in this council, you will be surprised that you'll find over half of the representation comes from nonprofit organizations. Like I said, here we have these organizations trying to make a determination for me as an individual. And I believe that's what's contributing to this confusion here. It shouldn't be. These nonprofit organizations should not be involved with this decision making. Why? They're being represented by one single individual. Okay? With representation from a whole, an entirety. A part of a nonprofit organization, just at the end of last year, this was one that was just created. Yeah. They're identified as the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, better known as CNHA. This is a nonprofit organization, yeah, who's out there advocating sovereignty to our Hawaiian people. Well, again, if you were to look at who makes up or who's a part of this body, you'll be surprised, the contributors are large corporations, First Hawaiian Bank, Bank of Hawaii, yeah, oil companies have contributed to this Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, and they're influencing, they're advocating a form of sovereignty. My question is, should that be occurring? But you see, our people don't know this. They don't know this is occurring. So if you don't know what's happening out there, it's very difficult for you to make a determination of whether or not what they're advocating is the right thing for you or for myself. Okay? In this same category as advocates, we also have government agencies as advocates. Government agencies, can you imagine now? Here we are in Hawaii, we're trying to establish sovereignty for our Hawaiian people. And today, we have government agencies that is also advocating sovereignty to our Hawaiian people. You know what? Personally, I don't think these people should be involved in our decision making as individual Hawaiian people or as supporters for our sovereignty process. But it's happening. Okay? What government agencies am I talking about? I can tell you right now, The Department of Interior is involved with presenting a sovereignty process to the Hawaiian people. The Department, United States Department of Interior, okay? They're involved. They're selling their sovereignty or their idea of sovereignty and promoting it to our people. Another government agency which is a lot more visible here in Hawaii is OHA, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Okay? They've already told everybody that they support the Akaka bill. Okay? Openly stated, they support the Akaka bill. But yet, this is an agency that's supposed to represent beneficiaries to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And that is Native Hawaiians. And they say 50% Native Hawaiians. So what happens when an agency supports a process of sovereignty, advocating a process of sovereignty, yeah, and has made a decision to support, say, the Akaka bill? What about the beneficiaries who are out there that don't support the Akaka bill? Then what we really have, to me, yeah, is a breach of fiduciary trust. They should not be involved with this process. They should be supporting efforts, be it domestic independence or independence. But instead, here we have, again, yeah, they call themselves the trustees. They claim that they were voted in by the people, so they're going to be the voice to make the decision. If I remember correctly, yeah, on the last time that I was on a show with Herb Squires, we had Trustee Mossman here. And I asked him, is there a plan B? And he outright said, no, there is no plan B. OHA will support and back up the Akaka bill because that is what their decision is. But yet, what about the beneficiaries? What about us who don't support the Akaka bill? Yeah? So really what it boils down to is these people should not be involved in the process. There's 9 individuals that have Hawaiian blood, yeah, that making this statement to all of our people out here, and having our people now, yeah, listening to what they're advocating. Okay? In the same category, you also have government officials out there advocating sovereignty. Okay, and you know what the problem is with that? It's simple. How is it possible for a governor of this state to support a belief that some of the people in Hawaii want? And that is total sovereignty for our country. Or how is it possible for a senator, yeah, representing Hawai'i in the U.S. Congress and be willing to support our inherent right to sovereignty? So here we have advocates out there, yeah, that basically is controlling the mindset of the undecided. Yeah, we have 99, I predict 99.8, 99.7% of our Hawaiian people are undecided. You know, and this type of activity that I see going on, personally, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it should be. It should be supported, yeah. Only because the last few advocates have openly stated that they support the Akaka bill. Okay. When I was here last, we were discussing some of the high points, some of the low points of the Akaka bill, the advantages of Akaka bill, the disadvantages, okay? I can just make one statement about the Akaka bill. It is about domestic dependence, okay? And what domestic dependence is simply that the word sovereignty is what they're promoting in their presentation to our people is not its true definition. You're actually a part, yeah, of a process that still has to be accountable to the United States of America and all the various departments. And I tried to point that out, okay? That all the various departments we're talking about the executive branch, the Department of Interior. We're talking about other agencies that they've plugged into that our so-called Hawaiian sovereignty, yeah, will be operating and functioning under. Okay? So here we have a whole list of advocates. Now, not only these people now advocating, there are other sovereignty groups that are out there. You know, one here on Maui. I'm sure many of you are aware of, but this person calls this process, they call him Akahinui. Okay, and he proclaims himself to be the majesty. All right? And the reason why I believe that he's in this advocate stage and not in the conceptual stage is because he basically doesn't have any form of government to present to our people. He does have his concept, his idea of what Hawaii's sovereignty should be. That he, by genealogical lines, that he is, in fact, the majesty. Well, if you have no plan to present to our people, then basically you're out there advocating the form of sovereignty. Okay? And then we have others that are out there. Just this past, last year, there was another one that began. And he began in Oahu. They call themselves the living nation. Okay? Well, again, if you were to look at what the living nation is comprised of, they basically don't have a conceptual plan to present to our people. They're presenting an idea that all the groups should come together, and then from there, we'll try to figure out what type of sovereignty we should present. Well, I can tell you, this type of advocacy has been ongoing for the last 20, 30 years in our sovereignty process. In fact, it contributes greatly to the confusion. Some people trying to understand how to address some of these issues out there. Okay? And then you got some people that's been there for a while, okay, over a period of years. Okay, these people, they call themselves the Desiree Kingdom of Hawaii. Okay? Again, they're in the advocate stage because they basically have not even moved forward on their plan. Okay? So this is one that I feel is in the advocate stage. We have Pakakau. Kalamai. Forgot to turn off my phone. Kalamai. Okay, we also have, Kekuni Blaisdell, who's been around a long time, and he advocates Kapakakau. Okay, which basically means bringing the Hawaiian people to the table to discuss how we're going to develop sovereignty, what we're going to do. Okay, they've been around a long time. And we also have Keanu. Keanu's been out there, right, advocating sovereignty, different avenues on how to establish or create sovereignty for Hawaii. But again, if you was to look at whether or not they have a plan there, a conceptual plan, you'll discover that there is none. Okay? And, you know, I'm not here to try to say this group is the wrong group or our group is the right group. No. What I'm trying to help our people to understand is that we need to progress. We need to move forward. And in the process of progressing, like I said, our people need to understand what is out there, what's being presented to them. Okay? Now we move to the conceptual. Okay? In the conceptual plan, like I said, these people have basically developed a form of government, have prepared the paperwork, and have presented it to our people. And there's very few processes in this conceptual plan. Now, a part of conceptual is not just presenting the plan now, okay? It's actually going out and making that plan work, making it happen, okay? So, in this category, all right, Kalahui. Kalahui has been around since, 1987? And they definitely developed a plan. Okay? And if you were to sit down and look at how their plan was developed, personally, I honestly feel that they've promoted a nation within a nation. They've supported that our Hawaiian governing entity, yeah, can be similar to what the Indian tribes are about. So when you look at their plan, there's similarities to the Akaka Bill. And that is domestic dependence. Okay? So they have a conceptual plan, and people just, you'll need to sit down and make the determination, try to figure out what is the difference, say, between Kalahui and Nation of Hawaii, Bumpy. Okay? We come to the next conceptual proposal, and that's Brother Bump. You know, at one time that I know that Bumpy had certain plans developed, all right, to achieve sovereignty for Hawaii, which is why he's placed in this conceptual category. Okay, I know that he has these developed proposals. Well, I think what I'm trying to point out to people is that in this category, you definitely have to have information for our people to look at. Because without this information, then you cannot make these determinations, all right? And that's to me, that's the important thing in trying to help individuals determine the difference between proposals, sovereignty proposals, and making a determination, all right? And then, conceptual. We come to the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom, okay? We definitely have a plan. In fact, our plan is simple, that we believe that if we reinstate our inherent sovereignty right to exist, what that basically means is that we now have the right to reclaim our political authority, reclaim what belonged to our former government, and exercise our inherent sovereign rights. And we definitely presented a conceptual plan to our people on how we actually move this process forward. It began on March 13, 1999, and a part of the conceptual plan, yeah, was to fulfill some of the requirements to qualify our government, our process, okay, to exercise sovereignty rights. Now, what is the difference between a conceptual and a qualified phase? Okay, let me show you. This is based, okay, in order to qualify, all right, international laws, yeah, are implemented. Okay, there's requirements in international law, okay, to assist governments, nations to qualify itself, to open up discussions with other nations and other countries. In our situation, yeah, in these laws, it talks about you need to possess a distinct citizenry. Okay? I believe that one of the difficulties that we've experienced over the years in Hawaii is that many times we had Hawaiians, okay, in Hawaii trying to develop a sovereignty, but still are identified as U.S. citizens. Okay? The problem with that is simply this. If you go to any country in the world today, you will find that this country or that nation has a citizen base that they identify as their own. In Hawaii, what we have is American Hawaiians, okay? When I say American Hawaiians, we're U.S. citizens, okay? And because we're U.S. citizens, it's difficult for us to try to establish, yeah, a citizenry. So if you were to check out the other processes, you will find that none of them had actually taken this step. And I believe this is the value of reinstating our Kingdom of Hawaii, okay? And that is that in our process, you are a part, first of all, of an application process, citizenry, and then you need to qualify so that you can become a distinct citizen, a certified citizen in our country. And again, what's the value of it? We're finally fulfilling that international element, that international requirement to qualify as a nation. Now, once you have the citizen base, right, the citizenry, now you can begin the process to conduct a plebiscite. And the plebiscite is simply this. You're asking these people, these citizens, what type of form of government should we have? Okay? Now, I know that there has been proposals to our Hawaiian community, our Hawaiian community. That was, I believe back in 1996. And another one I believe is coming up probably at the end of this year. And they're going to be asking our Hawaiian people, what type of government do you want? Or the form of government? What should be the path that we should take? Should it be a nation within a nation? Or should it be an independent nation? See, the problem that we foresee is simply this. It's very difficult to ask a foreign citizen about the rights of another nation. That's difficult. So when we conducted the plebiscite, you know what we did? We had let everybody in Hawaii participate in the reinstatement of our kingdom. I don't know if you guys remember, but you would see on every island that the people who participated in our process were out there trying to encourage citizens to participate in an elections process. Okay? And the value of that is simply this. We invited everybody to participate. But you had to stop, you had to register yourself, and you needed to participate in our plebiscite process. Why? What we were saying to everybody is that we are giving you the right to be a part of our reinstatement process. Whereas it's difficult for us today, for myself, to look at American Hawaiians and they're going to ask me the question, well, should I be a nation within a nation or should I accept independence? I think the first step should be we should set up our own citizen base. And after we set up the citizen base, then we should ask that question, Should we pursue independence or should we take another form of sovereignty? But this is vital under international law. And in Hawaii, we gave everybody the opportunity to participate. That is what gives the credibility if we were to look at other processes. Okay? These processes didn't provide that avenue yet. It takes a while. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of funding to make something like this happen. You're talking about conducting an elections process throughout the entire island chain. And that's tough. That's tough. But we were able to have every island participate in our plebiscite. Again, this is a part of qualifying your national status. Okay? Now, after you run a plebiscite, what you have an elected government officials. You have officials now that can represent your government. All right? You gave everybody the opportunity to participate. And that's, to me, a democratic process. Everybody in the state was given this opportunity. Okay? You could run and you could become an elected official. And again, it's with these elected government officials that now you can represent your position. And this is not, today, let's go make a sovereignty process. Let's go get maybe, you go be the Minister of Interior, you go be the Minister of Finance, or, you go be the judge. No, it's not that way. You actually have to construct. You have to construct an entire government body. Okay? After you got government officials, right, the next thing that has to be done is you have to be able to construct a constitution and you have to actually ratify the Constitution. What is a ratification? The citizens of that country has to agree and vote for the Constitution. Okay? In our reinstatement process, that's what we were able to complete on March 15th, 2000, I believe it was. March 15th, 2000. Okay? We completed the Constitution, and then we ran the ratification vote. And today, like I said, I'm proud to say the value of having a Constitution is that it describes the type and form of sovereignty that your government will be conducting its business as. Okay? It's within these documents that people across the world will look at your process and say, oh, this is how they plan to conduct their government business. This is the type of rights that this government is affording to their people, okay, to their citizens. And we were able to finish that. Now, right, after you have a constitution, you know what you've actually developed? An operating, a functional government. You know how important that is? In order to make decisions valid, you need to have an authoritative body, okay? And the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom, yeah, one of the primary objectives to it was to establish an operating government. Today we operate on every island. Yeah? We have 24 districts that are represented throughout the island chain. We have representatives and nobles coming from each of these islands. Okay? And we also have an executive branch that operates. So it's important to have a functioning governmental body, and the reason for it is simply this. In order to qualify yourself, yeah, you need to have this body in place so that you can discuss your issues with other government officials. Without the government body there, it's difficult to open up diplomatic talks. And this is the extent that the reinstated Hawaiian government has taken it. So when you finally qualify yourself, yeah, this is what you now have established. You've established the right to exercise political authority. Now, what is political authority? Political authority is the government. It's the sovereignty. So that, to me, is a part of developing your process. Okay? As I shared with you the qualified steps, now it makes it a lot easier for you to take a look, say, at this process, yeah? Take a look at this process. How far, yeah, have they progressed? How far have they progressed? And that's an important question, because that is what helps you as an individual to make these decisions. Because it's vital right now. It's vital that every Hawaiian understands, yeah, what each proposal is presenting to them. Okay? The value of qualifying your nation is that you finally get to the last step, the last phase. The last phase is exercise rights. Okay? What rights am I talking about? I'm talking about rights, yeah, that stem from a political authority. It stems from a government. These are rights that nations possess. All right? And in order for any rights to be activated or to have any authority, you have to have completed these steps. There has to be a functional government there. And this is, I believe, where it separates the conceptuals from the actual governmental process. This is what separates it. Okay? We currently, yeah, the reinstated Hawaiian government, Hawaiian Kingdom, is preparing to grant rights and privileges to its citizens. Yeah? Ask yourself, well, how can this happen? How can they just grant these privileges or grant these rights? Hasn't other sovereignty processes did that before, and they ran into problems? You know, I believe that's the difference that this phase, yeah, provides, is that when you complete and you qualify your nation, your government, you've actually acquired the inherent sovereignty right to exercise. You're not asking someone, you're not asking a nation to tell you what is the truth. The truth in Hawaii is simple, that our government has been denied and suppressed long enough. So in order to put value back into our government process or our identity to achieve justice, us Kanakas, and those who believe in the inherent reinstated Hawaiian government, had to fulfill these steps. We had to complete this. Now, when you're granting rights and privileges of citizens, just stop to think, what does this existing government provide for their citizens? So everything that they're providing to their citizens, the potential of our government is also providing those same type of privileges. And I know that you may be thinking to yourselves, wow, if these so-called citizens start exercising these rights, they're definitely going to run into a legal predicament. There will be a legal problem. Well, a part of our reinstatement process, obviously, was to prepare our legal defense teams so that when we as a government begin to exercise our inherent rights, we also have prepared ourselves to defend these rights, not only within each other's discussion, no, but against this existing government that's been denying our right to exercise. So the road to sovereignty, as you can see, it's not a simple path. It takes a lot of work. But to understand how it actually functions, how it moves from being undecided, and identifying, becoming an advocate to sovereignty, to moving to a conceptual, how to become a conceptual. Now, out of this category to a qualified state, okay? And then finally, to exercise rights. Personally, I can tell you, it has taken the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom 4.5 years to get from this point to this stage here. 4.5 years of documentation, of being able to fulfill a lot of the processes, the procedures within the international laws, so that it can be made possible for us now to take this possession. I can share with you that the reinstatement process, the reinstatement of the Hawaiian Kingdom, is based upon international laws, okay? It's incorporated many of these laws that a lot of us out there didn't understand, okay? One of the basic doctrines, one of the basic international law doctrines is perfect right. And perfect right, what it basically states is that if you possess the right, you don't need to go ask someone else what your right is. What you need to understand is how is it possible to perfect this right so that it would succeed against having this right denied. And this is what we've done. We've sat down over the years to continually perfect our right to exist as a nation. And that's why when we come out and we do our proposals to our people, we try to help them, first of all, listen, we don't force anyone to make a decision. What our job is to try to get the individual Kanaka to understand how he or she can make a better decision. I know for a fact that I won't be able to convince every Kanaka out there. In fact, I've already been approached by Kanaka Maoris who are out there who are just perfectly happy to be American citizens. And they ask me, well, Henry, you know what? I'm happy where I'm at. Well, my response to that has always been, well, I'm glad you're happy, and I'm not. So I think you should respect what we're doing as much as what you believe is what you want to be a part of. So the way I look at it is In our process, even the Kanaka Maoli people have the right to remain as American citizens. America is a country that you can be a part of. But we're trying to finally fulfill one of the greatest challenges that's been presented to our people over the last 110 years, 111 years to be exact. So our next step is to claim our national lands. Remember I was telling you we're going to exercise perfect rights? Well, we've definitely prepared our process to take back or begin the process to claim our national lands. Now ask yourself the question, what is the national lands? Some people, they identify it as ceded lands, okay? No, national lands, are Hawaiian government lands, and they include the crown lands. These were properties, these were lands that were illegally confiscated during the overthrow of our country and the succeeding years, okay? So the beauty about claiming the national lands is that our former monarchies, especially Kamehameha III, had done a process to identify these properties. And today, it's to our advantage that he has done this, because we can identify, re-identify what lands on every island actually belong to the Hawaiian government or to the crown. And that, to me, is 3/4 of the battle, to properly identify these properties. Well, like anything else, it takes the next step. If you're going to reclaim something, rule number one is you need to be that party or proclaim to be that party. And this is what the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom advocates, is that this is the government, this is the nation that existed, this is the nation that has the right to reclaim its inherent sovereignty, its political right, and to reclaim its national lands. You know, some people come up to me and they talk to me about, well, Henry, what about this? Or what about that problem? Or how are we going to deal with the people that bought properties? You know what? Like anything else, when this succeeds, those are the things that our government now can address. Okay? Until that moment arrives, we need to get ourselves united under one process so that we can take the step to begin the claim. And this is what the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom is offering to our people, our Kanaka people. Listen, we didn't make up this process, or I didn't anyway. In fact, if you were to read the Queen's letter, the protest letter, you would be surprised to find that on her very last sentence, she used the word reinstate. And the reason why she did that is that she was very knowledgeable of international law. She knew that by preserving our nation's right back in January 17, 1893, she also preserved the ability or the capability of her people to reclaim their possession. And this is what the whole emphasis is behind our reinstated Hawaiian government. One, we need to get our people to understand, listen, sometime or another, we have to unite. We have to come and be under one process. And the way I see it, is that it's very difficult to continually talking about trying to decide the type of process that we should have, when in fact, the process was already set up 111 years ago. And all we had to do was learn how to connect ourselves to the process to make this happen. And this is what I'm encouraging the Kanaka Maolis out there. Listen, there's a large bunch here still, undecided. Well, you're going to have to make these decisions. Okay? I try to, like I said, explain the difference between advocates, conceptuals, qualified, and at this stage, you now have to be responsible for your own decision making. Okay? What can we look forward to? Oh, I believe that what we can look forward to finally is resolving some of the greatest issues that we are confronted with. Okay? Number one is that there's been a lot of mistreatment, yeah, on behalf of the current government. In fact, the latest issues that have arisen, yeah, they actually delve right into the very heart of some of the programs that were established to pacify our Hawaiian people, okay? Such as Office of Hawaiian Affairs, okay? That was created so that a portion of what belonged to the kingdom, a portion of that revenue, was to be set aside to help or to provide for the native Hawaiians. Today, that exact agency, that exact office, is under attack. It's under attack because its existence is in a foreign government. It's in the United States government. And because it's there, the people of the United States clearly understand the powers of their laws. Their laws is simple, that any citizen living in the United States cannot be discriminated against. Well, here's the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Its creation actually promoted discrimination. So there's been the Rice Cayetano suit that opened the door to open the light to this discrimination. Okay? Now there's the Arakaki case that's actually coming to the heart of the matter. Yeah? Arakaki case is proclaiming that OHA is in fact a violation to the Constitution of the United States. So they're asking the Supreme Court to declare Office of Hawaiian Affairs plus the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to be illegal and to be declared null and voided. Okay? In other words, to get rid of what little was given back to our Hawaiian people. So some people ask me, right, well, how can this be prevented? I tell them straight that if you were to move the assets that were in the Department of Hawaiian Homelands and what's in the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and move it back to its rightful position, its rightful party, then what you're actually stating is that under the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom, no longer does the U.S. laws have any application to these assets. But as long as we're going to keep these assets within the boundaries of United States laws, the end result will be we will begin to lose these assets. Now let me share with you this. Yeah, the Akaka bill, the proposal of the Akaka bill is stating that we're going to make an Hawaiian governing entity. And this Hawaiian governing entity, yeah, is the answer to preserving these rights. Well, I don't see it that way. I don't see the Akaka bill as saving or being the savior to our rights, to whatever agencies that are out there in possession of our assets. And the reason why I make that statement, the Akaka bill is a federal statute. It's a law that's been proposed into Congress as a bill or an act to be a law, and it is the very act that created the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, yeah, the very state law that created Office of Hawaiian Affairs that's being challenged as unconstitutional. So here we have this predicament that OHA, Senator Inouye, our Governor Lingo is telling our people that we need to support the Akaka bill because then we can place, yeah, the assets into this Hawaiian governing entity. You know what? I can make this statement to all of you, and that is, I don't know how it can be legally protected when in fact the Arakaki case, the heart of the case, is declaring a federal statute that is 82 years old, 83 years old. Yeah? It's called the Hawaiian Homestead Act in 1920. It's being declared, it's going to be declared unconstitutional. So here we are putting our faith into another federal statute that we know that American citizens will have the opportunity to take into court again and have that declared illegal. So instead of just all of us trying to find out another way to resolve this problem, I can tell you, the most safest way to do anything right now is to look at your inherent sovereignty right and the value of this inherent sovereignty right and how it can secure our future and our assets. And this is what we need to do. Okay? So if you're out there and we're ongoing, we have our educational programs that continue every month. All right, and you can stop by. We have representatives in all the different districts, okay, that you can contact and get a hold of. And I'm encouraging you that if you still don't understand enough about sovereignty and what's being proposed out there, then all I can say to you is that you need to get yourself involved. All right, and I'm waiting for Herb. Herb, you ready to come back into the picture? Because I want to thank you. All right, Herb? Herb, thank you so much, brother, for giving me this time. I hope they gain something out of what I've shared.
Well, as much wisdom as you have, Henry, I'm sure everybody learned a lot from the presentation, and it's important that you go through this process to let people know exactly what it's all about and how it all is, so that they have a better understanding. And it is complex. And I appreciate, all the energy and time and effort that you put into making, the Hawaiian kingdom a reality, because we all pray for that day.
I got a question. Being a non-Hawaiian, did you understand what was shared?
I have to be honest. I had headphones on listening to the director because I was shooting 2 cameras. And so I always watch the shows the following week, so I get to get the content. But isn't that I'm not interested? I've just got to perform a lot of different jobs around here. And so I can't focus on the content, which I'd love to. I'd like to just kick back and listen to all of it, because I love to hear you speak. When we did the show with Judge Mossman, I thought it was a fantastic show, and you just did such a great job.
Oh, thank you.
And, the judge did a good job, too. But, I just have the ultimate respect for you, because you are a wise man. You have a good, solid leadership mentality, and you've worked so hard, and you have so much work yet to go, that I just have ultimate respect for what you're doing. And like I say, we all pray for the day when the nation will be restored.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, like I said, majority of us that's been in the process for a long time, we like where we're at. We're at phase 5 in this road to sovereignty. We actually we've prepared ourselves to exercise rights. So, Maui, we're praying that this summer, we can provide some solid information.
Well, we want to thank you for being here.
My pleasure, brother.
We're about out of time here. I want to thank you, the viewers, for taking the time to watch this show as well. And look forward to many more shows with Henry. We want to give our support to the reinstated Hawaiian government as much as we can.